Today, though, I've got my friend Brandon Brittingham on. We're going to talk all things investing. So we'll see you in just a little bit, my friend.
Yeah.
And Brandon, are you there, bud? Hey,
Yeah, I'm
how
here.
are you, man? How are you doing, bud?
Good, brother. Good, good.
Good.
Good,
Now
man.
you just
I'm happy to be here. It's a great ride with the XP so far.
yeah, and we're just getting started. You just joined us, what, 60 days ago, something like that?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. For folks not familiar with you, would you mind sharing a little bit about your background as a real estate agent and then also as a real estate investor?
Yeah, so got my license in 2008, the greatest time in the world, probably the worst
Yeah,
recession we'd ever
perfect timing.
seen. And quickly became, one of the top agents in my state in Maryland and one of the top agents in the country. And then started a real estate team and got to be number one in the state and then number two in the US for small teams by Real Trends in a pretty short period of time. And that was kind of my journey to kind of growing a real estate business kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah, and then the history of your kind of trajectory in investing. Did you start from the very beginning back in 2008, or when did you start as an investor, and where are you today in your portfolio?
Yeah, so what happened was I initially got into real estate not to be an agent or not even to build a team. I had come from running another really successful business that I had sold, and I just wanted to get into real estate to invest. And I thought that once I got my license, I'd be invited to this secret room where all these agents have all this information about real estate investing. And what I found pretty quickly was that not a lot of people had done it, and so I had started investing in real estate kind of more as a hobby, and then as my brokerage business started to grow, I think it was the first year, as an individual agent, I'd sold like 200 houses, and at the end of that year, the former brokerage where I was at was, I got a plaque and a pat on the back, and it was like, hey, January 1st, it starts over again. And so then I really started thinking about, hey, I don't want to trade time for money for the rest of my life.
Hmm.
And there's got to be a better way. And so that's when I started really thinking about, I need to become an investor. I need to learn how to build wealth. I need to learn how to build cash flow. I need to learn how to make money in my sleep. And so then my active income can be put into assets that provide me passive income. And then one day I don't have to hustle as hard as I'm doing. And so that was kind of the epiphany that I had. And thankfully, I had it pretty early in my career.
That's awesome. And for folks at home, where are you today with your portfolio of investing? What kinds of investments do you make?
Yeah, so I'm close to a thousand units, a thousand doors, and
Good.
I'm invested in all kinds of things: land, self storage, big apartment complexes. I'm on the private money debt side, so um, I'm in many verticals on the investment side.
Yeah. And so here's a question for you. There are 1.5 million realtors in this industry, and yet there are
Yeah,
not 1.5 million realtor investors in this industry. We're in the
yeah.
market every single day. Why, in your opinion, in your experience, don't more agents engage in building their wealth through real estate investing?
So a couple of things, right? And here's what I think that everyone needs to understand. If you're listening to this and you're an agent out there, right? If you've ever done a transaction with an investor where you found them the property, you told them, potentially what you think it would sell for renovated, you told them potentially what you think it would rent for. You've done the investor's job. You've underwrote the deal for the investor. You've pretty much done the deal, and then you probably were in a situation, right, where later on you sold that property for them and you watched them make this huge sum of money and you only got a little bit. And you were basically the transaction coordinator for the investor. And
Mm,
there's nothing wrong with that. Don't get me wrong. but you could have been the investor and gotten paid as your own transaction coordinator. So one of the things I want you to think about is that money in between that the investor made, you have access to do it. There's this false sense of barrier in a lot of agents' heads that, it's too much money, it's too hard, but you're doing it already and you're helping investors do it already. You're just not getting paid for it. And I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions. Look, I started in real estate with no money from an investment standpoint. I don't have a high school education. I don't have a college education, right? And I quickly learned the investment side and started making enough money where I could go and do it on my own. And I had the same fear and the same like false sense of barrier of entry. It's not real because you're already doing it. You're just not getting paid to do it. You're getting paid as an agent, and we should be getting paid as an investor.
Nice. And I know in the expand investing program, you'll talk not just about becoming an investor, but also as an agent working with investors as well, which
Yeah.
can be a great gateway. Um, Give me a practical piece of advice. What's one thing that I could do today if I'm not already working with real estate investors? What's one thing I could do today to work with more of them?
So I think it's like understanding, the one thing that I've heard before is like, well, working with investors is not my brand, or I don't want to
Mm,
work with investors because they waste my time. You just don't speak the language. And that's one of the main reasons I came here to EXP. And I'm excited is us with this expand investing to teach you how to do this. Because once you get on this side of it, it's financial freedom. I mean, like seriously. So investors buy houses on math. It's basic math. It's not emotion. We know dealing with buyers and sellers, there's a lot of emotion tied into your typical house sale. What I love about working with investors is it's just math. If I speak their language, and oh, by the way, for most businesses, the language of the business is accounting and math. And data driven decisions are how really successful people run businesses, i.e., our CEO, Leo, is probably one of the smartest people in the world of making data driven decisions, right? So investors just look at math, it's all math to them. So if you understand how to communicate with them from that standpoint, and oh, by the way, most buyers and sellers you're going to work with are going to buy or sell one house with you at a time, in a 5 to 7 year period. Most small to medium investors buy 3 to 7 houses a year. So if you understand it and you understand how to communicate to them and you work with a couple of them at a time, you can get to pretty quickly, right? 25, 30 houses a year. Right now to this day, I'm quote unquote out of production, right? I don't go on appointments. It's very rare that I'll ever show up to an appointment. I still settle probably 100 properties a year that through
mm.
investors. You know what I mean? Not just me, but through other investors. And that's a sizable amount of income because I learned and built my business on how they communicate and what language they speak.
That's absolutely right. Now, you did this in the room at EXPCon, and we had like 28 people who got one. So, could you give the tip that you gave in the room for the folks who were
Absolutely.
thinking, "Well, I don't know any investors"?
Yeah. Yeah. So two big myths we're gonna lay to rest right now. People say, "Oh man, I don't have enough money. I can't get money." Blah blah blah. Investors always need access to properties, which you have access to properties. Then you're gonna say, "Well, I don't know enough investors." That's not true either. So if you're listening to this or you're watching this, I want you to go on your phone and just put on Facebook, who wants to invest in a real estate deal with me? Question mark. And we did this multiple times at EXPCon in different sessions. And I think the most commented one was 28 comments. And then you're, oh my God, now what do I do, Brandon? So you just, if you can find, and this is one of the things we'll teach you in expand investing, but just change your mindset because you can find it right now. You're just not looking for it. It's like, when's the last time you bought a new car? You never saw that car on the road, and then you see that car in the same color repeatedly. You're just not looking for it. If you can find good deals or deals that investors are looking for in your market, you will always be able to sell them because they always need access to properties.
Yeah. Yeah. And when I know as a real estate agent, you look at properties a certain way. Is there a different way that you look at properties as a real estate investor? As we're out there in the market and we're trying to find these deals, trying to find these opportunities, how do you look at properties?
Yeah, so here's another thing about why it's such a good idea to understand and get on this investment side and learn this is because when we are approaching a property as an agent, we look at it from one dimension, and that is let me list your property, which there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But when you learn how to become an investor and become a deal architect, there's so many different strategies, right? Um, Me and you were talking about this yesterday. Could I add on to this property? Could I knock the property down, make it a duplex? Could I subdivide a lot off this property? Could I buy the contiguous property to it and create it to a development? Um, by completely changing my frame of thinking of I have the ability to not just list your property, but to be a deal architect, that has made my production skyrocket because I have so many different tools in my toolkit to approach a property versus just listing it. And then if they want to list the property, absolutely, that's something we can do. But the better you get at understanding this side and all the different options, and look, we've seen the landscape of real estate change where the consumer loves options. And the more options you can figure out, the more dangerous you can be when you are talking to them about helping them.
Yeah. Now, so we're doing the expanded mastermind. We kicked this off in at EXPCon in Miami, and we had an outrageous amount of responses already. This is a limited
Yeah.
amount of seats. And by the way, I'm taking one of those seats personally. We've already had scores of folks sign up for the mastermind. What's the thing that you're looking forward to most about Expand Investing?
You know, um, we talked yesterday, but I'm going to give you a different answer today. So
Okay.
I've coached some of the biggest real estate teams in the United States, some of the biggest agents on teaching them this. In the last, I don't know, 3 months, the resounding thing I'm hearing from all of them is Brandon, you've made real estate fun for me again. And because look, let's call it what it is. It's been kind of tough the last couple of years. So, what happens on the investing side is it stimulates a different part of your brain. It gets you thinking again, it gets you dreaming again. And it's like, oh my, and we're all entrepreneurs. So, it's getting us back in this build mode again of here's all the things that are possible. So what besides that, what I'm excited about is I'm literally teaching people financial freedom of listen, this can if you take the stuff that I teach you and you implement it, it is going to change your life forever. It's going to change your business forever. It's going to
Yeah.
change how you run your business forever. It's going to change how you think. And literally, if you listen to what we say and you implement it, um, the struggle that we've all faced in our real estate businesses gets way less hard, and you just get so much better at your business, and you can build real wealth and get a lot more cash flow, and then you wake up every day and say, man, I'm never going to zero. I don't have to trade time for money anymore. And that's the super excited thing for me. And I've done it, and I've taught so many people how to do it that you're going to walk in and get a blueprint, and it's turnkey. And we've done this in markets all over the country. And I know because I was at EXPCon, the caliber of people that are EXP, how many people we're going to make successful. And a year or 2 years from now, we're sitting in a room with them and they're like, Brandon, and EXP and Bryon, you guys changed my life. And that's what I'm really excited about.
You're going to change mine and a lot of other EXP agents as well. I know it. You talked about data, and here's something that's interesting. I'm preparing for the session I'm going to do next Thursday on building your strategic plan. And I was looking at Housing Wire, and what Housing Wire said was interesting. They said inventory is around 736,000 in U.S. existing home sales, about 736,000 in inventory. Same time last year and the year before, it was around 550,000, which is cool, right? We've got a lot more homes coming
Yeah.
on the market. a lot of opportunities for sale. Of course, the rates coming down, like Holly talked about, not as fast as we all would like, but they are coming down a little bit.
Yeah.
That will at least translate to better mortgage rates, not equivalent as Holly shared, but better mortgage rates. All in all, that'll mean more sales, but it will also mean more sellers who are very eager to sell and willing to cut deals on their homes. And that presents a lot of opportunities for us as investors and also working with investors. So this is kind of a perfect time for you to be coming on board and doing this for us. Speaking of doing this, so next Thursday, you're actually doing a free call for everybody on Thursday, the 21st. Do you want to share a little bit about that? And maybe as you do, Randy, if you wouldn't mind putting up the QR code so folks can snapshot to register for that call.
Yeah, so at EXPCon, we had a couple of different sessions where we were able to get into some tactical things like, how you find and work with, sellers who need to sell their house fast, how to work with investors, and then just kind of going into kind of some high level things of understanding from the investment side. And Bryon, the other thing that I'm excited about is we're not just going to talk about investing, we're going to talk about money and wealth. We're going to teach you about how to manage money, how to invest money, how to build wealth. And so those are some of the things that I'm going to talk about. I just don't want to show you how to go out there and make the money, because it's not just what you make, it's what you keep. And in our world in real estate, we are favorably rewarded for investing in real estate from a tax perspective. And there's all kinds of things from that standpoint that we're going to teach in the mastermind. I'm going to talk about next Thursday as well. So we're just going to give you a short master class on how you get on this side of the investing side to kind of really change the landscape of your business and make you a lot more money and keep more money in your pocket.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for doing it. And thanks for coming on today and sharing a little bit with us. I will see you next Thursday, if not sooner. And I hope you all will as well. Brendan, thanks so much, man.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right. And Russ, thanks for letting us come hang out, man. Back to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Bryon. Appreciate that. Have a good weekend. All right. There you go. Brandon Brittingham. This guy is a wealth of knowledge. And I think one of the things that I really liked when I've heard him talking before was he just makes it really simple and approachable for the average person, where most of us say, wow, man, like this investor thing is a big, hairy deal. And he actually breaks it down into some really simple stuff that actually most of you guys can do. So make sure you check him out. Super sharp guy and just a heart of gold, of course, with a ton of background to go with it.